Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
What's up, everybody? This is Chad with Eternal Midnight. I'm here with James, and we
Hey.
are going to be talking video game movies. So we're going to be basically going through the list of all the live action video game movies that have been adapted. A lot of these we're just going to jump right by because maybe one or both of us didn't even see it, so there'll be nothing to say. And
Yeah.
then when we get to the end, we'll just be doing a discussion on some more of the current ones and upcoming stuff and what we'd like to see from video game movies.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I look at video game adaptations and my immediate thought is why. It's never hell yes, it's never. I mean, I get it. Ooh, it's live action. This is some sort of gimmick that people love for some reason. But I mean, do you need to see this amazing story you've enjoyed again told in a shorter span that will probably be worse? Or can you just play the game again?
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't see the point. There's a few other we'll go into that I think would make for great movies that have that they're not done justice in the game's storytelling capacities. But I think most video games don't need movies. They shouldn't have them.
It just doesn't work because, and especially with the older ones, because these were
Oh,
back
yeah.
when games didn't, I mean, they either didn't have stories or they barely had stories. So it's
Definitely.
like, I mean, like, and we'll, like, right now, the very first one on the list, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I
Why?
mean, that just, okay, I mean, personally, I think the movie's a lot of fun.
It's fun, but what the
Yeah.
shit? Like,
Exactly, because you got to remember it was like it was in development. It came out in '93, so I mean, Super Mario World was out at this point, and it's like,
there
I mean,
wasn't a story to be told, though. I mean,
so it's like
it's a little plumber that runs around jumping, taking shrooms, and murdering other animals. Like, there's not much you can really do there. Princess gets kidnapped, I guess. I mean, I liked the animated show they did. Like, as a
Oh.
kid, I haven't seen it since. Maybe it was terrible, but I
No,
remember
don't
enjoying
watch it. It'll taint your memories so badly.
Oh no. Oh, okay,
It's
maybe.
awful. It's an
Oh,
awful show.
it's like a cartoon. I remember loving it. I was like 4 though, maybe 5. Well, I'll leave that back in the memories and just
Right.
never go there. But the movie, no, I watched that recently and I wasn't a fan. I didn't see the point in its existence.
I think, though, probably the thing I think that it exceeds that is it's one of those things where it's like the name Super Mario Brothers is almost what it's downfall,
Yeah.
because if you'd tweaked a few things, we could have gotten a really cool, like, just straight up dystopian, like, other world type movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the concept of it was cool, but it's the fact that it was Mario.
It didn't
is
even
what-
resemble Mario. Like, why? I'm
Hey,
gonna
cool.
just jump ahead here and say, have you actually seen anything before Mortal Kombat other than that?
Let's see. So Double Dragon, no, haven't seen it. Street Fighter is hilariously bad, but I haven't
Never
seen
seen
it. It's bad. I haven't seen it in probably
Yeah.
20 years though, so I don't really remember much about it. But
I've seen both these Mortal Kombat movies though, and I love them.
yeah, Mortal Kombat is great.
It is
It is so much.
so fun and fun.
love
Like the guys behind Mortal Kombat Midway Games, my dad used to work for them.
Oh,
I got
that's
some Mortal Kombat merch and shit. I love it. I love Mortal Kombat. I still play them. I need to get the new one, but the movie was just so fun.
It
And
was. It's because it's like they did what Mario didn't. They took something without a story, but Mortal Kombat kind of had a story, I
it
guess.
had like a loose story. Like they've retooled it now in the new ones using elements of what was in the original, so it had enough there for the foundation.
Yeah, and
I
it
think the
worked.
games did it better though than the new ones, but
Oh, easily.
yeah, I mean
That's
it was good. I enjoyed it.
Look at it. I mean, oh my God, the effects for Goro were amazing.
Yes, and I mean it just the idea of watching a bunch of people in stupid costumes fight each other before superheroes really picked off. Hell yeah. I mean, I
And
used to
then-
watch this with my mom all the time. I loved it.
And then 2 years later, we get Annihilation, which was just, wow, what a drop off in quality. I mean,
I don't remember much about it. I just remember enjoying it.
I'll put it this way. The first Mortal Kombat has a 46 on Rotten Tomatoes. Mortal Kombat Annihilation has 2%.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drop off.
So,
Right, Resident Evil. That I think is an actual. That's one of the best not superhero, no, video game movies.
like, let me see. After Annihilation was Wing Commander. I didn't see it. Did you?
Mhm. No,
Okay. Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Honestly, didn't see it.
nope. I saw the new one, but I haven't seen any others.
Cool. So then, yep, good. We can jump right into Resident Evil.
Yeah, I think that's probably before I was seeing, because I haven't seen Detective Pikachu yet. I don't know if it's out yet, but I think
Uh,
Resident Evil at the moment, from what I've seen, is my favorite.
yeah, I like the first one.
I hate everything else.
Well, it's like for me, because I didn't play any of the Resident Evil games growing up. I never
I
had a
did.
place. I didn't get a PlayStation till later, and I never played the games. But it was like I actually read the novelization of the
Uh,
game, so it
yeah.
was like the book was really cool. So it was like I kind of did and kind of didn't like how they updated the giant mansion to
Mhm.
being underground. I mean, that was cool. It's like I liked it and didn't because it's like I wanted what was the original game in the book, but at the same time, it was a cool update.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
never knew anything Resident Evil before I saw this. This was my introduction, and I still haven't played a
okay,
Resident Evil game or read anything. So to me, when I think Resident Evil, I think the movies, and honestly, the first movie, it was from someone who doesn't know shit about the series, I really enjoyed it. I think it's just a solid, fun zombie movie.
yep, I'd definitely say out of all the Resident Evils, 1 and 2 are the only two that I actually enjoy. I don't like
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6 are just they
Which is
just
the one with the
progressively get
zombie
worse.
birds? The zombie birds one I
Oh,
like.
that was the third one.
Uh, it's just so dumb. I was like, ah, I love it.
Yeah,
Zombie birds,
okay.
fuck
The
yeah.
third one had some good elements, but it was like by the time we hit 4, it just
Yeah. The
we'll get to
latest one was
those.
just Jump Scare City as
Oh
well.
God,
And
terrible.
then, have
So
you
let's
seen
see.
House of the Dead?
I honestly, I really no. Let's
I
see.
have.
Tomb Raider 2, I didn't see that either.
Nope.
House of the Dead, honestly, I. This is gonna almost make me sound like a snob, but I genuinely avoid UA Ball films. They don't
Oh, it's him.
do anything for
That
me.
doesn't make you sound like a snob. That makes you sound reasonable and intelligent and somewhat sane. I
Well,
didn't
it's
know
like
that was him.
he's gotten better at making films, but his early
Mm,
movies when he was
has
trying to
he?
adapt video games, just what they did to me is like they almost tainted like video game movies because of
Yeah.
how like just badly he made them. So it's just, but yeah, House of the Dead, I avoided it, and yeah, at 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone say a good thing about it. I'll put it that way.
Alone in the Dark has 1%, so
Holy
you've
crap.
seen Doom, right?
Honestly, not the whole thing.
Oh, I've seen it so many times. It's one of my mom's favorite movies just 'cause how dumb it is. I love it. It's like, what have they done? They'd made Doom without Doom Guy, and it fell into the same trap Doom 3 did.
The
Um,
game?
yeah, because Doom 1 and 2 and the new game, it's just Doom wasn't about the story. The whole point of it was just fun shooting demons in a facility with a horror atmosphere.
Right.
And Doom 3 in the movie tried to make that, like, they tried to tell the same story as Half-Life, really, like a
Hmm.
demonic invasion. It didn't work. It just came across as like, we want to be Half-Life.
Well, and this was back when this was back when like The Rock was like just getting started, wasn't it?
Yeah, and honestly, I can't see him as anything but the same. He is the Rock in every movie he plays. He's never a character. It's just
Hmm.
him. So putting him in a Doom movie kind of doesn't work.
Yeah,
And
because then
Doom
it's
Guy
just
isn't even in it, I don't think.
yeah, because then you're just watching The Rock basically.
You're watching The Rock kill demons for like 2 hours. It's I mean, it's fun, but it's not a good Doom movie, and it's not a good movie. And I mean, he's been in another one since, which we'll talk about, another video game movie, which is overrated as fuck. But
Right. Let's see. So Doom. Then we got Blood Rain. Didn't
never
see it.
seen it.
Silent Hill. Want to see it. Haven't seen it yet though.
Should we just jump to the next one we've seen? I mean, have
Let's
you seen
see.
Hitman?
Uh, let's see. Dead or Alive? No. Postal? No. Resident Evil? No. Hitman. I haven't seen it, but I like Timothy Oliphant, or however you pronounce it, Oliphant.
Uh,
Yeah, I like him. But no, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen anything up until Prince of Persia, personally,
Okay,
which had Jake Gyllenhaal.
because let me see. Let me see. Hitman, didn't see that one. Didn't see it. Okay, I saw Max Payne. I never played the Max Payne games.
Hmm. I
I,
haven't either.
I remember I went and saw it, and the only thing I remember about it was when I left the movie theater, I basically forgot everything I'd just seen. It was just that forgettable.
Oh shit. I mean, to be honest, Prince of Persia, I've seen it, but I don't remember it. I
I
know
didn't.
I've seen it, but it's so forgettable. And I mean, it's got a decent audience score, I guess,
Mhm.
58%. That's decent for a video game movie, but I just remember Jake Gyllenhaal being in it, and I remember wanting to play the game after it, and then I remember the game. I don't remember the movie at all.
I know it's sad because that's what most of these are. They're just like forgotten. I mean, like look at the
Yeah,
two above Prince of Persia, Street Fighter: Legend of Chun Li. That's like I've heard that's one of like the worst things ever made.
I've never
And
even heard of it.
I mean, it was just stupid. I heard the only reason I would want to watch it is because Kristen Krug's in it and she's hot. But and then I mean, look at that next one, Tekken, 0% on Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes, zero
that's
percent.
not as bad as Far Cry's NA though.
I know Far Cry didn't even get a rating,
I
but
love
that's
Far
because
Cry
we didn't
1,
see
but
those. So there's nothing to say. And then so let's see. Then there was Prince of Persia, and then two more Resident Evil movies, which, like we said, they're stupid,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Need
Uh,
for Speed, never seen it.
I did. You know what? I remember everyone was getting so excited about it because they're like, "Oh my God, Aaron Paul's gonna be in it!" Because this is back when Breaking Bad was
Yeah,
either just finishing or still in the air. And I remember the movie came out, and yeah, everyone was like, "It sucked." I'm like,
yeah.
"Well, thank God, I'm not. I don't want to watch a car about race. I don't need to watch a movie about car racing, anyways." I
Yeah, I mean, the fucking, what are they called? Fast and Furious? I hate those.
was gonna.
I forgot their name. Like, what?
That's
I
like the only franchise that went from a simple movie about car racing and it evolved into like
the dumbest
planet
action.
planet like saving the entire planet.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And then you've got Hitman. I've heard that's, but I've heard it's decent. I've heard it's bad. I don't know. It looks bad.
Agent 47. Yeah.
I've not seen Warcraft. I know you have, but
Okay.
I haven't.
Warcraft. All right. Here's how I view Warcraft. Yeah, okay. It's because it's always the same bullshit complaints I have to hear from people. Oh, the CGI in this one spot was kind of dodgy. You know what? CGI is dodgy in every film that has it. Get over it.
Infinity War had dodgy CGI.
Yeah, look at the last fight in Black Panther. There you
Yeah.
go. That was completely shit CGI, and yet
Oh
people
yeah.
still say that's one of the best movies ever. So it's like,
Yeah.
whenever people's complaint is the CGI isn't that great, I'm like, okay, you don't even pay attention to the story. But it's like, so I never. The only Warcraft I ever played was I played World of Warcraft about a decade ago, probably.
Yeah. I
So
played a little bit.
yeah, so I never played the actual Warcraft game, the original one. So I don't know how close it is in
I've heard
regards
it's
to.
not at all close.
Okay.
I've got
But
Warcraft fanboy friends, and yeah, they say it's they took elements of the lore, but they overly simplified it, I think was a huge thing.
I mean, to me, here's how I look at it. It felt like a crazier, less serious version of like a Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fun. I just if you haven't seen it, don't judge it. Just give it a watch. I mean, if you like fantasy, you'll have a fun time. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I look at it. It's not as bad as everyone says.
And then we move on to Assassin's Creed, which is so forgettable. I didn't finish it.
I
My
never
dad,
bothered.
who now he works for Ubisoft, was like, tell them to stop trying. It's shit. It's like, yeah, you go to a meeting or whatever. Just say, this is shit. Don't do it anymore. He doesn't have the power to do that, but it'd be nice because
Yeah,
they shouldn't
yeah.
do that. Assassin's Creed. I mean, the problem I have with the games is that there's any elements of modern in it. It should just all be historical, but it's like an overly complex way to explain the UI. So in a game you get over it, but then when you try and put that in a movie, it's so weird. It doesn't work. It's just tell a historical story at that point. You don't need the anime
Get it?
shit if it's a fucking movie. That was a hugely gameplay based element that kind of had story elements, but the story was never about the modern day after Desmond left. And this
Hmm.
didn't have Desmond in it, so it was like,
Oh,
why?
well,
Why?
what's the damn point then?
Yeah, like the whole point of whenever you got story outside the anime city, like I haven't played all of the modern ones, but it was usually through Desmond. and
Mhm.
that had some story to it. And then after that, it seemed to just be you'd go out and have some Easter eggs every now and then. So I don't see the point in telling a story with the Animus in it at all. I think if they just centered it entirely around Dazio's story without modern day stuff, it probably would have been good. But whatever they tried just didn't work. It's
No kidding.
forgettable. It's
Well,
bland.
and don't forget it got slaughtered at the box office too. Because do you remember
Yeah.
what it was going? Remember what it was going up against?
What?
That was going up against Force Awakens.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because that was Christmas of 2016. That was
Oh, you're
Force
right.
Awakens.
Jeez. Poor guys.
So let's see. So yeah, Resident Evil Final Chapter, absolute dumpster fire of a film.
Tomb Raider overrated.
Okay. It's in my pile of stuff to watch. So I've heard it's decent. What would you say about it?
Just go watch Indiana Jones.
Okay, so it's basically just female Indiana Jones.
It's basically the story from Uncharted 1, because I haven't played Tomb Raider, and I've heard they're really similar, so I'm just going to talk about Uncharted. It's basically the story from Uncharted 1, but short.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, she went looking for her dad or something. I don't remember. It's so forgettable. I just remember they ended up in a temple with skeletons and some shit happened, treasure. I don't know. It's forgettable. Indiana Jones is better.
I put it on one night because I was gonna watch it, and then something came up, and I had to like turn it off. But I got up to where they were doing like the rollerblade race or whatever, and I'm like, is this a '90s film? I'm like, this feels like. I'm like, a rollerblade race? I'm like, this feels like it's straight out of like 1993 or something.
My biggest flaw with Tomb Raider is it does feel out of time. I think if you'd released this back when Mortal Kombat came out, it would have been like, holy shit, this is one of the best video game movies ever made. It's like top 10 worthy, and it's like an actual good movie, but it came out, it was like Venom. It would have fit in 10 years ago.
Right.
I think the Tomb Raider and Venom, if they were 10 years earlier, they would have been good movies. But now they're just like, they're a product of old time. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't fit into the modern movie slate, and it just shows like movies have come a long way. Like these blockbuster sort of movies, because movies have always been better than this. But what I mean is with the blockbuster, the popcorn flick. They've come a long way, and Tomb Raider doesn't work anymore. It got 50%. I kind of agree that it's like I understand that it's a fair score that 50% of critics liked it. I understand that it's a very divisive movie. I don't know. I think for me, it's like I've watched it once. It was forgettable one time. I don't have any inkling to watch it again. If I feel the urge to watch something about someone exploring tombs and treasure, I'll just go watch Indiana Jones.
Exactly. I'll just throw on Raiders of the Lost Ark or something.
That's a well-made movie. This shit is just, why? I don't get it. I think a lot of the thing you'll notice with video game movies, they're mostly forgettable. I mean, Rampage, okay, this one's an exception.
Okay, Rampage, okay, yeah, exactly, because it's Rampage Rampage kind of had a story. Like 3 people got turned into the giant monsters and just started destroying, and it's just mindless destruction. It's like I mean, I had a blast with this. I mean, I've said it to you before. Honestly, I'll watch anything that has The Rock in it, just because, not because he's a great actor, because he's fine, but it's like I just love his charisma. I think he's just having a blast. So it's like,
for me, it felt like, why don't I just watch the Planet of the Apes trilogy?
Right. It was just, Rampage just made me laugh because it's like they at least did what I wanted. They just went full on absurd with everything, which is I think what made it fun. Is they just went crazy. I mean, come on, the wolf was flying and got eaten by a giant Godzilla looking alligator.
I just didn't care about it. I was like, why am I watching this? And it was the same weekend I watched Rampage, Tag, and I Feel Pretty. I enjoyed I Feel Pretty the most. Like, fucking hell.
That says a lot right there.
I was like, yeah, I'm done this weekend. I'm gonna go back to watching some good shit.
Right. I don't know. Rampage for me is almost like a guilty pleasure, where it's like, if I just want, like, if I'm having a night where I'm just like having some drinks or something like that, it's like throw it on just for some noise in the background, and every now and again I'll like just watch when the city's getting broken up. But I mean, it's stupid, but I mean, I did have fun with it. So
I'd say my favorite, like if I did a top 3, I'd probably say number 1 Resident Evil, Number 2, probably Doom, and then number 3, I'd probably go Mortal Kombat personally.
Yeah, for me, I don't know what I would do. Because, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of these. I mean, I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably have Resident Evil Apocalypse, probably Rampage, and yeah, God, I don't know.
Tekken.
Super. Oh yeah, 0%. Woo. I don't. Super Mario Brothers. I don't know because I liked it. It was fun. It was, but
But
so
then on
that
the upcoming slate, we
yeah.
have
So that's
Detective
everything that's
Pikachu.
been released. So now we're talking about what's coming next.
This is also missing if you. I swear there's a Call of Duty movie coming out. Because we're looking at a Wikipedia list right now, which has the upcoming ones as well, and it's Detective Pikachu, Sonic the Hedgehog, Monster Hunter, and the Minecraft movie. But I swear they're talking about a Call of Duty one as well. So
How do you make a Minecraft?
how do you
Look,
make a Minecraft story game? Like it's
I
gonna be trash.
I guarantee what they're. The only thing I can say about that is they're gonna try to copy the Lego movie because
No, 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 no. They're probably going to go down the route the story mode from the game did, which was it wasn't the Lego movie. It was the most half-assed, pathetic story I've ever seen. Like the writing was something a 6-year-old would do in his English class. It wasn't good. I mean, it's the fucking there's a scene in it because I watched a YouTuber play it where
Mhm.
the Wither reaches his hand through the Nether portal into the Nether dimension. You know what that is, right?
Oh, I'm so sick and tired of that trope.
And then
What?
he smashes the portal and his hand doesn't get severed. It goes back through the non-existent
Oh my
portal.
God.
And I'm like, okay, so that's what the movie's gonna be. It's gonna
Great.
be dumb as shit to get money from 2-year-olds.
No kidding. Well, that's so. Let's see. Detective Pikachu.
Looks good.
I'm pumped because
Um,
well, we grew up playing Pokemon. So I
yep.
mean, I really do. If you played Pokemon, which is a lot of people, I don't know why you wouldn't want to see this. I mean, it just looks
Looks
like
good.
harmless fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit weirded out that they went live action. It's like, okay, cool. But yeah, sure, why not? We'll see how that goes, I guess. I think I don't see it being bad because I've heard that they deviate so much from the game story that it's really just the name and the concept that they took. Um,
Because you almost can't make a movie about like, red or
no.
blue or gold or silver. I mean, you can't make a movie based on get a starter Pokemon, go train it in the wild, battle some gyms, and go
Mhm.
to the Elite Four. So it's
See,
like,
I've never liked the anime and I tried to watch it again, and that is basically what they tried to do with it.
hmm
I think the best thing about the anime was seeing the Pokemon in their natural habitats, but the majority of the story is watching this little shit called Ash, and I hate
he's
Ash.
yeah, because he's the worst goddamn trainer I've ever seen.
Yeah, he
I
just
hated
annoys
his
me.
yeah, I hated his character. He barely caught any Pokemon. He released his Pokemon left and fucking right. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, the point of being a trainer is you need a good team and you release everything as soon as it gets strong.
yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I find him annoying, grating, and I would watch it if it was just seeing the Pokemon in the natural habitat like a wildlife show, but
Mm,
yeah. So Detective Pikachu looks a lot better because they've got Ryan Reynolds and actual good casting, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. Sonic the Hedgehog, on the other hand,
Ooh, that is
it
controversy, the movie.
it looks like Batman Forever, but
It
modern day.
does.
Like so bad it's good. Like you want to see it, but at the same time you're like,
Well,
ah,
that's another one. I mean, look at it. That's another one where it's it feels out of place because
it
stop
does.
and think about it. Sonic is a relic of the 90s. He hasn't really had a good game. Like the new one that's out right now for the Switch, I think. I don't remember what
Well,
one of the new ones is. I've heard decent, but it's like
yeah.
Sonic hasn't had a good game since the 90s.
I love the TV show for this as well. Now, do not tell me it was shit because I don't
Okay.
remember
Well,
much.
there was I'm because there was the original two shows. There was the
Uh-huh.
shitty one and there was the good one. There was
What are they called?
like the shitty one had like the cheap animation and all that garbage, but the good one had like good animation and
What was it called?
Robotnik. Uh, Most of the fans called the good one Sonic Sat AM because it was the Saturday morning one as opposed to the
Yeah,
Monday Friday one.
I watched it on Saturdays, so
Yeah, then you watched basically were like Sonic and his team were like freedom fighters or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the good one. Yeah, so
Right,
okay,
I
because
like that one.
Yeah, that one's actually legit. I actually have it on DVD, so it just sucks because it it ends on a cliffhanger and then they
Uh,
canceled the show.
they do that a lot.
I
This
know. I
movie,
was like,
though,
God damn it.
I'm probably gonna watch it just for Jim Carrey because he looks so stupid in
He does. But it's like what I do like. I mean, he's basically just playing Jim Carrey, but I think that's what makes it awesome
it.
because
Yeah,
it's like he genuinely looks like he's having a ball with the role too.
he's pulling a rock on this one. It's genuinely just gonna be like Doom all over again. Doom and Rampage, but with
And
with
he
Sonic.
just, I mean, he's overacting so much. And
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, and we've all seen the memes about how, like, he's the only one who's going to be carrying the movie. It's
yeah,
like,
it is.
he is. I mean,
It's
the
got a good
only,
cast though. It's weird.
I don't, and it's like the only, and it's like when that first trailer dropped, oh my God, and people saw Sonic, I am still shocked that they said they're going to go back and change his
Yeah, but
design.
watch the design get worse somehow.
Oh my God.
But
I
I
don't
think I
know
love
how
the
it could be.
comparison. In the trailer for Pikachu, they see him and they're like, "Oh, look how cute he is," and then in Sonic, it's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna shoot it." Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
It's just weird because I don't understand why they went with that design when it's like,
Dude in
you're,
pajamas. That's what it looks like.
yeah, it's just like I don't get it. I mean, it's all right. Like I can't say, oh, if you made his design like in the games, it wouldn't be realistic. He's a blue talking hedgehog. He's not realistic to begin with.
They
Go
should have
all
just made
out
him
and
an
make him.
actual hedgehog.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean, right
go
now it
all
looks like a guy in pajamas with a mask
yeah.
on.
It's like it's not hard because you can
Mhm.
make Sonic look like a badass, and yet they just made him look off. But then again, that's I forgot who's making this dumpster fire. Oh yeah, Paramount. Why am I not shocked?
Oh shit, yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right.
Yeah, felt like something Sony should have made, but
I think
so
personally, because a while ago, Gabe was doing an AMA, and people asked, "Are the Half-Life and Portal movies still on the table?" And he said, "Yeah, they are." J.J. Abrams is the guy that's apparently going to be doing them when he's wrapped up Star Wars.
oh, that's awesome.
I'm worried because I think Half-Life story is like the second one. The first one's just aliens invade a space station or an underground military scientific base, and
Mm,
just fights the big bad and gets out. It's not really got a complex story. Half-Life 2, on the other hand, really does, and you're so attached to these characters, and you go on a huge journey with them that lasts far longer than the movie's runtime.
yeah, no
Cramming
kidding.
it into 3 hours or two, because it'll most likely be a two, isn't
Hmm.
gonna work. And I just think you're cutting it by over half, and it's not gonna fit in, and it's gonna be terrible if you try and do that, unless it's like a trilogy. And even then, the protagonist doesn't talk. So that's gonna feel weird if he suddenly starts to. And
Hmm.
also, the protagonist doesn't really have a face. He's always been first person with the occasional box art.
Hmm.
I don't think you can do Half-Life as a movie. I think you can show more of the Half-Life universe through a movie. I don't think you
Hmm.
can adapt the game. I think
Definitely.
what you should do with
Well,
these
so
sort of things is fit them into the lore so they go in like they coincide with the game's story, but you don't want to overlap because
well,
then
I think the first one could work as a film because you just kind
maybe
of you do it in the style of the original Alien, where you just keep
yeah.
it, keep it small, contained, and then when you get to the next movie, you're able to broaden out into the world and make a much bigger thing. But you since you've played Half-Life 2, I mean, I haven't played it in years, so you obviously know it way better than I do.
I
But
play
yeah,
it
like you
every few
said,
months.
huh?
I play it every few months. I don't see it working because
Hmm.
the first thing that happens is G-Man pulls you onto a train and he's like, wake up to the world.
Hmm.
The wrong man in the right place can make all the difference, that whole speech. And then you're immediately thrown in, you meet Barney, you meet Dr. Kleiner. These are all characters you already know, but they play so much on like, oh, remember that the game was in the 90s and everyone looked the same, but now these guys are actually characters.
Hmm.
And then it's like you meet Alex and you grow connection to these characters. They throw shit at you. The world is all personal. You're crawling through the depths. You're seeing the citizens attacked by the Metro cops. It's all first person. It's so incredibly personal. And then to strip the personal away, and I think that's the problem most video game movies have. They strip that personal aspect away because they have to. It's a movie. It doesn't
Hmm.
work though. You can't take that away and have the same story because in the game you're a part of the story. That's how the stories are written around you being at the center. In a movie, you're an observer, and it's two polar opposites. And I don't think that you can adapt one story to work as the other, because movies as video games rarely work either.
Right.
I don't see it working at all. Half-Life 2. Half-Life 1, sure, because the story is basically you're late to work, you go to a test chamber, you push a crystal in, oh shit, everything goes wrong. Oh, you have to run through the facility, fight off aliens, military, psychotic assassins. You have to jump through a portal, fight a big, giant monster that's based off of Gabe's wife's fetus. That's the story, and maybe you can adapt that. Maybe that might be cool. Half-Life 2, no. Portal, even less so. I don't think.
How do you make Portal a movie? I don't even see
the entire thing. It's a puzzle game.
Exactly.
The entire thing is that you solve puzzles. You want to watch someone solve puzzles for 2 hours? Because I sure as shit don't.
No, I mean the Portal. If anything, put the Portal gun into a movie, but you can't. Yeah, because I love the first Portal. That you can't make a movie out of that. That's like saying let's make a movie based on Tetris. You can't.
There's no side characters. There's just Shell and GLaDOS.
And it's
doing
like the
puzzles until she kills GLaDOS.
It's like the story of the game is you can fit it in three sentences. You wake up, you have a portal gun, you solve puzzles for the AI, and then you fight the AI.
And then Portal 2 doesn't make sense without Portal 1 first happening, so you can't do a Portal 2 movie either. You can't do a Half-Life 2 movie because it doesn't make sense without Half-Life 1. So both of these, I think, projects are damned unless they're based on new stories in the same universe. But he said Portal and Half-Life. Portal and Half-Life are in the same universe, so I'm thinking, they're adapting the games and it's not going to work. I think, if anything, it's just going to tarnish the brand, but then Valve aren't that clever, so I don't think they care. I mean, after the past, they compared Artifact, the new card game, to Half-Life, so I don't really think they're thinking straight. I think J.J. Abrams and Gabe probably got talking in a party when they were drunk, and he was like, hey, when I'm done with Star Wars, maybe I make a movie for one of your games. And Gabe's like, hell yeah, people want a new Half-Life game? Fuck them, let's adapt the game into a movie, and they'll hate it. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see it over 80% one, like a masterpiece, anytime soon. It's fucked genre. Like I said, you can't adapt a video game movie. It doesn't work.
It's like, and it's like, especially with some games nowadays, it's like they almost are like movies. Like, I mean, I'd say probably one of the few franchises that I could see making a good movie
Mortal
series.
Kombat.
What's that?
Mortal Kombat.
If they do it right, but Halo.
Yeah.
That might work. Yeah, Halo could work. Their problem is, like, it's the same thing that I think they would do that the fans wouldn't want. We've never seen Master Chief's face. And whoever they get as the actor, I mean, that's why we get shit like Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique in the X-Men movies, constantly not wearing the makeup because she's like, oh, we got to show my face. And that's why that's why well, it's like that's what they do in these movies is these actors don't want to be some of them might, depends on how passionate they are about the character they're going to be playing, but it's like look at good example, look at Stallone when he did the Judge Dredd movie. He didn't even wear the helmet because he wanted his face to be seen. I think they did the same in the Power Rangers movie when they pulled their visors back. It's like, no, we don't need to see their faces.
Yeah,
so with Master Chief, unless they got someone who was extremely passionate and was like, no, I'm going to do this right, keep my mask on, I think those could make some damn good movies, to be totally honest.
There's 3 that I can think of off the top of my head that I think could be translated well to the big screen. I think Mortal Kombat, because the Mortal Kombat games at this point, it's just like you're watching a movie, but it's dragged out way too long because it's a video game. And they show fights in between scenes so that you can play it, but it's basically just a long movie. So I think you take the core elements of Mortal Kombat, which is basically just a drawn out movie anyway. It needs to be shortened, and you do that and put it in a movie with a good cast. I think that's immediately you've got a really good movie there. Elder Scrolls, but you wouldn't want to tell a story in the game. You'd want to tell a new story because Elder Scrolls has such a wide depth of lore that you've got so much to play with there in the sandbox. You could do anything from a character profile of someone in this fantasy world to a full blown out, you know, Lord of the Rings-esque movie. You could
Hmm.
pull that off. But if they follow the games, I don't think it would work at all. But that's the kind of thing they're always going to do, unless it's, well, Detective Pikachu broke from the main story, so who knows? We might be all right.
I could see Elder Scrolls because I mean with Game of Thrones coming to a close soon, people are going to want their fantasy fix again.
Yeah.
So
And then there's Witcher, which they're adapting the books with inspiration from the games, so
hmm
that might be all right. But then you've got the Call of Duty might work because it's basically just an action movie.
hmm
I'm not too sure. Last of Us, I think's doomed. All the Uncharted stuff they've got going on, I think it's gonna go down the same route Lara Croft always
hmm
has, which is just it's not gonna work. It's gonna be a shitty Indiana Jones. I know people are hyped for it. I don't get that. I think the games are basically longer movies that you get to interact in on a personal level. Um, I don't know why you'd want that abbreviated to 2 hours with that
hmm
personality stripped away. Because I think if they tell a video game movie, it's got to be in the same universe as the video game, expanding on the existing lore, telling you a new story. I don't think it should be the same story.
Yeah, because it's like an example for me is like I would love to see like one of the Legend of Zelda games
Hmm.
adapted. And I know a lot of the game is you just running around, but it's like for anyone who's read them, when they made the manga on them,
Yeah,
they expanded on the story, and it's like you obviously could take we'll just use Ocarina of Time as the example
yeah.
because of if anything, I feel that one would definitely be the best one to turn into. Honestly, if you were gonna make a movie based on Ocarina of Time, I think you'd have to do a trilogy, to be totally
Mhm.
honest. But it's like because I read the manga for it, and it's like it expanded on so many things, and it changed a few things from the game, but like for the better, I thought. Like you never read it, right?
No,
Okay, so like remember you've played it though, right?
I played the like a 2 hours or something.
Okay. Well, you've at one point when you're later in the game, you fight a dragon inside a
Hmm.
volcano called Volvagia, however it's pronounced. And in the game, you just fight the dragon, kill it, bam, you beat the dungeon. In the book they added it that Link found the dragon when it was a baby and like kind of like nursed it a little bit to health and got to know the dragon. And then the dragon like fell under Ganondorf's like
Yeah,
rule of darkness. And so when you fought the dragon, it was like in a rage. And when Link fought it in the book, it was in a rage, and he killed it, but he didn't want to. So it's like
uh,
that added
yeah,
a level of emotion that was needed. So it's like you could almost, if you're gonna do something like that, base it off the book.
yeah. You want to go to the video game adaptations that already exist that are good. You don't want to jump from the video game, I think, if you're doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try and adapt a video game straight, it's never going to work, especially older games like Zelda. I don't think you've got a chance in hell.
Oh, no.
Um, Honestly, I think there's very few things I think would work just as a straight adaptation. I think maybe Mortal Kombat's the only one I can think of because that's just a
Mhm.
movie with fights in between. So if you made a cool fight scene, it'd be fine. The games never feel personal because you're not one character in it. You're like you play from so many different characters because
Mhm.
it's just like you're watching a movie and then they're like these two guys are gonna fight now. You're on this side. Go. You're not the character. You're not personal. You're watching it. You are an observer that occasionally you take part in when the fight scenes happen. So you could condense that into a movie. It's the only one I think works in that format.
Definitely. I think,
It
you know what? Another one that I think could possibly have a chance would be if they did something like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
But you just make it a crime movie. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
You wouldn't want to adapt one of the existing ones, I don't think. You'd want to do like stories of like those spin-offs they did in the game's existing ones.
Hmm.
I think you'd want to do something like that set around the same time in the same city, and you'd maybe reference the games a bit. I don't think you'd want to just straight adapt it. You could make a crime movie set in Vice City or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's what I
I
mean. It's
mean,
like,
you could
yeah.
adapt elements of it. But I wouldn't straight adapt the story. I mean, the
Mhm.
stories of GTA have never been that good anyway. I don't think they'd hold up as a movie. Um, but I don't know. I don't see the reason to adapt video games into movies anyway because it's not like books where there's no visuals or anything.
Mhm.
It's not like comics where adding it and making it a movie can maybe add depth to it. It's
Right.
not like that. And comics are getting better than movies now anyway, so it doesn't really matter there either. But I mean, books are usually better than movies, but there's a purpose behind doing it. With the video game ones, though, it's basically condensing a story and hoping that the IP gets you some money. And by the
Yeah.
looks of these figures, it doesn't work anyway, so I don't know why they do it.
No, because like looking at a lot of these, I mean, almost every single one, short of a few of them. I mean, these are all awful Rotten Tomatoes scores. Every
Yeah.
single one
And
of
they
them
don't make
is,
much at all. Rampage is the most profitable one, and that's not because of the brand name, that's because of The Rock.
yeah, no kidding. I mean, like, yeah, exactly. It was The Rock that brought everyone to that movie, basically.
Yeah. And I think honestly they're clearly not making money. People aren't enjoying them. Why are they still doing them? I think Detective Pikachu breaking from the mold a bit by not straight adapting the story is helping it.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see how audiences respond to it because critics like it. 70% highest one so far, marginally higher. I think the highest before it is only in the 50s. So, it's shot up quite a bit. It might make some money. I don't know with Endgame out that there
Yeah.
are enough Pokemon fans to
That's
make
what I
it
was.
money.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like it's going up against Endgame still, so it's like it's
Mm.
gonna be interesting to see if it even puts a dent in Endgame. I mean,
I
I'm
think it
sure
will
it
in
will.
Japanese markets, but I don't think it will here in like the West. I don't think we're gonna see it because I don't know many people that are excited for it personally. I've not seen much hype for it on social media. It's one of those things. I think Asian markets in particular will probably love it. I think that's where we might see a dent in Endgame's profits. I don't think the Western audiences are gonna dig it though. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like the kid in all of us wants to see it, but it's
Mhm.
just, I don't know. I mean, superheroes are the big thing right now,
Yeah.
and it's just because it's like the only people who are gonna go see it are those that have already seen Endgame once or twice and want to see a different movie. But it's like I already
Yeah.
know other people who are going, oh, I'm just going to see Endgame again. I'm like,
Hmm.
why again? You've already seen it 3 times. Go watch
Yeah.
something else. Give some
I'll
money to
probably
another.
see it. I'll probably see it a third time. Then I'll probably go see Pikachu and Sonic and Dora and be like, yeah, cool. That was a waste of money. But I think Pikachu looks good. It's got a solid cast. CGI looks really good. The story seems decent. I'm expecting it to be 6 to 7 out of 10 range. I don't expect it to be great, and I don't want to go into those expectations because I think they'll ultimately be crushed. But I don't know. I don't think that video game movies are ever gonna be good. I don't see them.
They just don't work because it's like the way a story is told in a video game is not how stories are told in movies. And
Yeah.
when they deviate from the story of the game so much, fans hate it because it deviated from the story of the game. When they try to do a straight adaptation, it fails because then it's a bad story because video games are not short of some of the like newer stuff, but it's like we said, you can't they're
It's
just
a different type of storytelling. I
yeah.
wouldn't say video games stories are worse than movies or the other way around. I just say that they tell them differently. I think books, when they adapt a book, they drastically change it, but because it adds that visual element, it's
Mhm.
not entirely comparable. Like adapting the Hunger Games or something like that. It's so different, the two mediums, that the adaptation works better because there's nothing comparable, whereas video games are just movie-like now.
Yeah,
Like The Last
exactly.
of Us, that's just like playing in a zombie movie. And now you bring that to the actual cinema. The way they tell the story, it is like a movie in the video game, but the way they tell the stories are vastly different, and you can't emulate it without the interaction. Like that's the way story doesn't come first in video games, I don't think. And
Exactly. Well, it's because video games they're all about the choices you make, what
yeah,
button you push, what character you talk to, what gun you choose.
yeah, it's entirely personal. It's you interact a lot with it, and in a
Hmm.
movie you just sit there and you observe. And I think you take a story that's been built to be interactable and personal, and you put that into a role where the viewer just looks at it. They don't really work. It doesn't really it doesn't convert well. And I think the best way is just to delve into the lore and pick a place, make new
Exactly. Just
characters, go
yeah,
from
just
the
pick something and build upon it or something. But it's
yeah.
like you can't. straight adaptations don't work, and but that's why something like Rampage was fun, because
Yeah,
there was no story in the
exactly.
game of Rampage, so it's like they just took the basic concept and they were just like, okay, now we write a story based on the
Mhm.
concept, as opposed to having to follow a
Yeah.
set story.
I have to say though, the Castlevania show on Netflix, if people haven't seen that, watch that. That is brilliant. It's actually like really good. I'd probably give it an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. It's one of the few video game adaptations that's really good, but it's an anime, which is probably why. Um, it's really, really good. I haven't seen anything video game adaptation wise as good as the Castlevania Netflix show.
I still haven't watched it yet, but I mean, hey, I like the Castlevania games. Well, I like the original 3 on the old
Mhm.
Nintendo, and I like Castlevania 4. And Symphony of the Night just wasn't my style. I'm not really a fan of the Metroid games, and that's
Yeah.
what they basically all are now. So, but yeah, I like the Castlevania franchise.
You should
But
watch the show. It's really good. I think probably Detective Pikachu and the Castlevania show are the only ones that are going to be in that sort of range.
nice.
And we'll see. I don't think Pikachu is going to be a standout movie. I think it'll be fun and
No,
I'll enjoy it, but I don't see it being great.
no,
Um,
it'll just be something that it's a live action Pokemon movie. That's what it'll
yeah,
be remembered for.
and I think a lot of these things do end up becoming forgettable, and I don't see Pikachu being any different. And I don't see the point. I understand making a movie. You don't need a necessity for it to happen, but at the same time, with video game movies, you're taking what is already essentially a movie and turning it into a. It doesn't make sense, and
No.
the stories don't work, and they're not making money.
Yeah,
It-
it's
this,
like you said earlier, it's almost a pointless dead market, to be totally honest,
I
because
mean, none of these are successful. There isn't a single success story here. I mean, Rampage, yes, but that's
that
because of The
was
Rock. You could put The
yeah,
Rock in anything and it would do well. So that's not
and
an indicator of it.
it's like the Resident Evils, they all made money, but that's just because they were zombie
Barely though.
movies.
They made like 100 mil each, really. A few of them got 200,
I
300,
was
but
gonna say some of them made a decent amount, but it's like on the whole, it's like, I mean, they don't make anything. They just nobody people don't go see these. They just don't make anything.
yeah, you
So
need
it's
like
like
another element, like you said, zombie movie or The Rock. Warcraft banked on the Lord of the Rings hype, which made the most here. Um,
Yeah, because and then it's like you look at something like Need for Speed, 200 million. I mean, that's
yeah.
not a lot.
No, I think the superhero genre is in the limelight. The video game genre starting in the 90s. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course it did. Never kicked off. It's never going to. And I don't see the point. I think
Mm-mm.
a Minecraft movie will probably make a lot because of a bunch of dumb kids, but after that, I don't see the point.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe,
either.
maybe it'll turn around. Maybe we're gonna see the golden age of video game movies, and this is just the superhero beginning phase. But I don't see that.
They just have to find the right way to do it, because I still
Yeah.
think, aside from a few exceptions, they just haven't seemed to figure out how to do it right yet, because
They
like we
have to do
said,
it like superheroes do. They take the characters sometimes. They should take a few of the characters, maybe, I don't know. But essentially, with the superheroes, they adapt on the comics very, very, very loosely.
hmm
It's very, very different most of the time. You compare Infinity War to Infinity Gauntlet, they're two
oh,
completely different
nothing alike.
stories. So I think video games are gonna have to get through that phase. I think right now we're in like the 60s and 70s of superheroes.
hmm
Maybe they'll turn around and in 30 years we'll get to the whole golden age of superheroes but with video game movies. I don't think so because video game movies are getting even more personal. VR, if that kicks off properly, I mean, everything with video games is becoming more cinematic and personal.
hmm
So I think they're advancing in such a way movies will never catch up. Whereas comics have been pretty much the same, except the artwork's gotten better throughout the years. I'd say that's
hmm
all. I don't see it happening. I think,
And it's just odd with something like Sonic, like we're saying, we're trying to like take steps forward, but it feels
mhm,
like Sonic is just a giant step back. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, look at just the basic plot. What I'm gathering so far from just the first trailer is why are they doing the trope of it looks like Sonic comes from another dimension?
Hmm.
Why are they still doing that?
Howard the Duck did that.
Have they never? But that's what I mean. That was like an 80s and a 90s thing, and it's like, why don't they realize people don't like that? I
No.
mean, when it's like when we like a character or something, and we like the video game or the story or the book they're in, we don't want to see them ripped out of their element and dropped into our world.
Yeah.
I've never liked that trope at all. I mean,
Well, Mario did
what
it,
is
and
it?
look what
Yeah,
happened.
Mario did it. What else? What's another one? He-Man and the
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe did it. The Smurfs did it. Now Sonic's doing it. It's like enough with that. We want to see these characters
Mhm.
in their world where we enjoy them. We don't want to see the fish out of water story. It's
Mhm.
irritating and it's cheap, lazy writing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Pikachu. Did Detective Pikachu exist in our world? I guess.
I mean, they
That-
just all live in a world with Pokemon. So I mean,
That's
that
true.
one. That
Yeah.
one's just. I mean, I never played the Detective Pikachu games.
I haven't.
don't
I've
even
only
know
played
what
the
it's like.
mainline ones.
Yeah, I really only play the main one, so I don't know how close Detective Pikachu is to the game, but I
I've
don't
heard
really
not at
care.
all. But that's a good thing. Stop making them exactly the same. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ryan Reynolds, though, either way, if it's bad, I'll enjoy it because of him. I
Oh,
loved Green Lantern because of him. I loved some of the worst movies that he's been in. I love them because he's in them.
it's because he's another one who he's just charismatic, and I enjoy
Yeah.
watching him. He always brings like some life to every role he's in. It feels like.
Exactly. So I think even if Detective Pikachu isn't that good, he'll carry it.
Yeah, it'll just be fun watching him say one-liners.
Yeah. And you know Deadpool's going to make a joke about it in his next outing.
Oh, definitely. Easily.
But
If we see him again, who knows?
Oh, we will. But I don't know. I don't see the video game genre kicking off, but we'll see.
I know.
I think that wraps up our thoughts pretty much. Pessimistic, pissed off, we don't understand. Why bother? I don't
Exactly.
know. I'm just gonna play the games. That's all I get the inkling to do when I see these trailers. I saw Tomb Raider and I went out and bought the game. I have yet to play it because I got into Uncharted instead, but we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, it's like you said, watching these, I'd just rather be playing the game instead of watching
Yeah.
them because they
Well, when I
just
saw the Pokemon trailer, I immediately got back into Pokemon. I didn't really. I probably could go without seeing the movie and just enjoy the games a little bit longer.
hmm
But I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see Sonic. I'm gonna regret it probably with Sonic. I'm gonna enjoy Pikachu probably, but I don't know. I mean, I want more original movies being pushed out than this shit.
Yeah, okay, but well, hey, today's day and age is adapt everything out there. No, I mean,
Yeah.
but
Remakes
that
galore.
remake everything and adapt everything. But you know what? It's funny whenever we hear people complain about that, and they're always, "Oh, I'm so sick of remakes and adaptations." It's like, well, then you have to go see the stuff that's not remakes and adaptations.
Yeah.
That requires you going to see them then.
Yeah,
You
like
can't
us.
sit and say you hate them, and then all you see all year is just Marvel and Star Wars and Disney remakes. You can't do that. So, but
Wow. I mean, it's a shame. Like last year, no one really heard of The Tale. That's a really good movie. I recommend. No one really heard of Hush. There's so many movies like that where I'm like, you need to go out and watch things other than blockbusters. Give the genre, like, give movies an actual go. It's hard though. I think people do now when they're on Netflix. You know, like when it's a Netflix original, but they're always pretty shit, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know. I don't see many people seeing this anyway. I don't think either of those are going to make much money. I don't know. I think we're seeing at the end of this genre. The money's gained recently, but are people going to be that interested in Sonic?
Nope. The
Are
only
people going to
thing
be interested in Monster Hunter? I don't see it.
I don't either. The only way Sonic's gonna make money is if it has no competition. I mean, that's about it. But I have a
Minecraft
feeling.
will, but
I think Sonic is just gonna. I almost have a feeling Sonic is gonna be like. It's just gonna fade into obscurity and it's gonna be forgotten. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna come out. People are
I
gonna go
think
see it.
Pikachu will as well. Like, to be honest, I don't see that standing the test of time.
Pokemon's a much bigger name than Sonic is, though, so that one, that one's hard. But like we said, well, it comes out at the end of the week, so we'll see, I guess.
But there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8 Pokemon movies. They all faded into obscurity. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure this. Oh, and the Ratchet and Clank movie. Totally forgot that. And the
my
Angry Birds
God.
movie.
Oh, that wasn't
And,
even on the list. I completely
No.
forgot about it.
Ratchet and Clank and Angry Birds. Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly,
Oh,
Ratchet and
God.
Clank was terrible.
Oh yeah, wait. Yeah, I didn't bother. That was another one where I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're making a CGI movie based on a PS2 video game.
It had
I'll
potential.
just play the damn game.
It had potential. Like, the original script looked really, really good. The writer talked about it, but movie guys interfered a lot. Like, I don't know what you would. Movie teams or whatever, the higher ups in the movie side of things were like, yeah, we're going to change everything. We're going to turn your menacing villain into a goofball. They basically tore his script apart and broke down most of what made it really good, and that fucked the game up as well, unfortunately, because they just used movie cutscenes in the game, which I didn't realize because I played the game the day before. Like, I beat the game in a day, and then I saw the movie the next day, and it was like watching the cutscenes, and I was like, oh well.
Wow.
But honestly, I think that is more of a fault of the people handling it on the movie side. So I don't know how much a video game movie is falling apart is because of the movie side of things. Hollywood, I think it's probably more on them than the game devs, which is a shame.
Exactly.
So who knows? Maybe it'll get better as time goes on and they learn their mistakes. But when have movie guys ever learn from their mistakes?
No, they don't.
Sony never do. Paramount never do. Well,
Sony, yeah. Sony doesn't learn anything, and
we could do
neither
a whole
does.
episode on Sony.
We'll get around to that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do an episode on Paramount too, because
yeah.
like I said, they're the only thing that was keeping them alive was Transformers, and that even near the end of that, people stopped paying to go see that too. So
Yep, that's
they killed their own cash cow.
So, final thoughts? What do you think? Fuck.
Just a weird genre that doesn't really make sense to me. But
No.
I mean, we got some weird stuff out of it, but we also got a lot of just trash. So it's like I've never really been excited for video game movies, and I mean, like I said, I'm gonna see Pokemon and I'm gonna see Sonic, but it's more out of like nostalgic reasons I want to see them, as opposed to genuinely excited. Like I'm pumped for Godzilla to come out at the end of the month, and it's like I don't have anywhere near that same level of like excitedness for video. I've never been that excited for video games.
I'm so excited for Spider-Man, but I'm dreading Sonic.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's morbid curiosity mostly.
Exactly. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the genre's coming to a close, or do you think it could get stronger and hit the reset button in upcoming days? So, what do you guys think? Let us know below. So, I think that's it for this episode. So, guys, we will talk to you later.
See you.